अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ नमः परमऋषिभ्यो नमः परमऋषिभ्यः। ॐ नमः परमऋषिभ्यो नमः परमऋषिभ्यः। नीलातुङ्गस्तनगिरितटे सुप्तमुद्बोध्य कृष्णं पारार्थ्यं स्वं श्रुतिशतशिरःसिद्धमध्यापयन्ति स्वोच्छिष्ठायां सृजनिगलितं याबलात्कृत्य भुङ्क्ते गोदा तस्यै नम इदमिदं भूय एवास्तु भूयः। काश्यपान्वयसञ्जातं नारायणपदाश्रितं श्रीमन्नारायणं वन्दे यतीश्वरश्रियाजुषम्. So today we will discuss the 28th Pasuram. கரவைகள் பிஞ்சன்னு காரஞ்சேருந்துன்போம் அறிவொன்னமில்லாத ஆய்குலத்து உந்தன்னை பிறவி பெருந்தனை புண்ணியம் யாம் உடையோம் குறைவொன்னம் இல்லாத கோவிந்தா உந்தன்னோடொருவேல் நமக்கிங்கொழிக்க ஒழியாது அறியாத பிள்ளைகளோம் அன்பினால் உந்தன்னை சிறுபேர் அழைத்தனமும் சீரருளாதே இறைவா நீ தாராய் பறை ஏலோர் எம்பாவாய். So this is the Pasuram for today. Hariniji Nappinaji, please.
Adiyan Swami. Swami, are we also going to discuss 29th Pasuram today or just 28?
Just 28 Adiyan today.
Just 28, okay.
Yeah, because it stretched too far if we...
Okay. Okay. Nappinai...
Yeah, I got it, ma. Got it, ma.
Okay.
நீங்களே ஃபுல்லா பண்ணிடுங்க.
Okay. Thank you. கரவைகள் பின் சென்று கானம் சேர்ந்துண்போம். கரவைகள் பின் சென்று கானம் சேர்ந்துண்போம். அறிவொன்றும் இல்லாத ஆய்குலத்தும் தன்னை பிறவி பெரும் தன்னை புண்ணியம் யாமுடையோம் குறைவொன்றும் இல்லாத கோவிந்தா உந்தன்னோடு உறவேல் நமக்கிங்கு ஒழிக்க ஒழியா உன்னோடு உறவேல் நமக்கிங்கு ஒழிக்க ஒழியாது அறியாத பிள்ளைகளோ அன்பினால் உன் தன்னை சிறு பேர் அழைத்தனமும் சீரியரோளாதே இறைவா நீ தாராய் பறையேலோரெம் பாவாய். ஆண்டாள் திருவடிகளே சரணம்.
ஆண்டாள் திருவடிகளே சரணம். Thank you. So we'll go ahead with the Pasuram for today. So in today's Pasuram, Andal, she's trying to express what is the means for obtaining Paramatma's grace, how to obtain Paramatma, right? So very clearly, it is going to be expressed that Paramatma alone is the means for obtaining him. Okay, so that is what today's Pasuram's focus will be. So previously, they said Yamand Karyam Arayandarul, right? So they asked Paramatma to examine the purpose why they have come and give the result, right? In the one of the previous Pasurams, Mari Madai Mudainjil Pasuram, right? So in that Pasuram, they said Yamandakaryam Arayandarul, right? So they asked Paramatma to examine. So apparently, Krishna is now examining what their eligibility is, what their sadhana is. Now, what is it that they want? What is the purpose of this vratam? Previously, we have discussed that this is not a material vratam to get anything material, right? It is only a material vratam in the eyes of the external world, right? It is a vratam to obtain rains. But It is actually a vratam to obtain the grace of Paramatma, Kainkaryam to Paramatma, eternal union with Paramatma. That is this vratam. Now, what is the price that one can pay to get him, right? If we want gold in this world, right, we have to say pay a certain price. If we want to get diamond, we have to pay more price. If we want to get platinum, we have to pay even more price, right? If we want normal food, versus organic food, we know we have to pay more price. The same idli sambar, if we eat in a roadside bandiwala, we pay one price. If we eat it in Taj Hotel, we pay another price. So in this way, we see that to get something that is more expensive in nature, naturally, we have to shell out more valuable. We have to shell out more money, right? So then how much does it take to obtain Paramatma? What do we need to get Paramatma? So that is what we have to understand. He wants to examine. So naturally, there is nothing that is actually capable of giving Paramatma to us except himself. He is the means and he is the end. That is the sum and substance of Vedanta. That Narayana is the means and Narayana is the end. Right? There is nothing material that one can actually pay in order to get Paramatma as the ultimate object of one's enjoyment, right? So he wants to examine that. Is there any other means that they are seeing except me, right? This is what, because they said, Paramatma, you please evaluate. He is evaluating, right? Paramatma evaluates each one of us. We may all take pride in so many things that we may do and say, I have all these credentials with me, and with these credentials, I try to approach Paramatma. But Paramatma really wants to see that we are seeing him as the means, not all the things that we earn in this world as the means, right? Because there is nothing that is earthly in nature that can actually give us Paramatma. The only thing that can give us Paramatma is himself. So this is what Paramatma is trying to establish, right? Through Vedanta, and Andal is trying to establish using this Vedanta Upabrahmana, which is Thiruppavai. So now, what Paramatma is testing here is, are we counting on our own anushtanam of karmas, or our jnana, or our bhakti, our realizations to get Perumal, or are we counting on Perumal to get Perumal? So there are 6 things that Purvacharyas have documented that are required for those who firmly believe in him alone as the means. So 6 things our Purvacharyas have documented. What are they? Satkarma abhava vijñāpanam, right? That means Satkarma abhava vijñāpanam. That means vijñāpanam. One should petition in front of Perumal that none of my karmas, any amount of my satkarma is not. Clearly, we perform 2 kinds of karmas, right? Satkarma and dushkarma. Dushkarmas can never become means for Perumal's grace, right? If any, there is a possibility that satkarmas may become a means for Perumal's grace. Now, are we seeing our satkarmas as the means for Perumal's grace, or are we seeing himself as the means for himself as the means for obtaining him? Right? That is what we are trying to evaluate here. So one should clearly be very openly expressive about the fact that, or one should rather have very firm conviction in the fact that my karmas, no matter how many karmas I do, no matter how much wonderfully I do, they cannot, or they are not sufficient qualification to obtain Perumal. How? Once upon a time, our scriptures describe a beautiful story, right? Once upon a time, there was a sparrow that lay its eggs on the banks of an ocean, right? There was a tree on the banks of an ocean, and a sparrow laid its eggs on that. It placed its nest, it constructed its nest, and then it placed its eggs. So on a certain full moon day or something, the waves, the tides rose so high, and they came all the way till the tree, and then they snatched away the eggs into the ocean. Now the sparrow started crying. It got so mad with the ocean that it went on begging the ocean, you please return my eggs, you please return my eggs, and so on. But the ocean was making these loud sounds, which the sparrow perceived as if the ocean was laughing at the sparrow. The sparrow got very angry at the ocean and said, if you are not going to return my eggs, I'm going to dry up the ocean. What did the sparrow do? With its beak, it started getting drops of water, and it was coming all the way till the bank on the other side, and it was dropping those drops. It was going to the ocean, it was picking the drops, it was coming away from the ocean to the bank, and it was dropping the drops. In this way, the sparrow was continuing to do. Now, how many drops of water are present in the ocean? Is it humanly, or is it sparrowly possible for a sparrow to actually dry up all the drops in the ocean? This is what Bhagavad Ramanuja writes in his commentary to the famous slokam Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, right, of Bhagavad Gita. That we may think that I have so many karmas with which I can try to obtain Paramatma, right? I'll perform, but is it possible for us to, first of all, our papam should be made zero. Is it possible for us to even figure out in all our previous lifetimes how many papams we have committed? First of all, it's not possible for us to figure out. Let's say we somehow managed to figure out. Maybe we made connections with someone in Yamaloka and they provided that list, that this is all the list of papams that were ever committed by this jiva. Somehow we have that list. Now, can we actually figure out the prayaschittams for each one of those? We don't have that accessibility today, right? To figure out prayaschittams. Even if there is an expert in this world to figure out all the prayaschittams, if there is such a scholar here who can suggest a prayaschittam for every one of those activities, do we have the ingredients necessary to procure all the ingredients necessary to perform a particular prayaschitta for a certain papam that we have committed? No. There is a lack of availability of ingredients. That is another problem. Third thing, let's assume that we have all the karmas listed, we have all the ingredients, we also have all the people who can perform those prayaschitta karmas for us. Priests are there, everybody is there. Then how many lifetimes will it take for us to finish all the prayaschitta karmas for those papams? In the meantime, what is the guarantee that we will not commit new papams? So in this way, if we just look at the ocean of papams that we are actually swimming in, what is our guarantee that with our effort we can dry up that ocean and think that one day all my papams will be over and I can get moksham? So clearly this realization has to come to a jiva who is aspiring for moksham, that there is no amount of my effort that can get me moksham. No amount of my satkarmas that I can see as a means for my moksham. So that vijnapana, or that openly admitting in front of the Lord, has to be done by the jiva. That, my dear Lord, I am not eligible using my own karmas to actually attain moksham. This is the first thing. This is what we see in the famous statements of our Purvacharyas also. Na dharma nisthosmi. I do not have any fixity in my dharmas. Right? In this way, our Purvacharyas have expressed. Then, swa nikarsha anusandhanam. This is the second thing. Okay, first thing is satkarma abhava vijnapanam. That means seeing our satkarmas as non-existent as far as moksham is concerned. That means those karmas are really not sufficient for us to give moksha. Next, swanikarsha anusandhanam. Swanikarsha anusandhanam means expressing one's own low position in front of the Lord. That I do not have any qualification. In fact, all I have is disqualification to attain you. I am filled with papa karmas. What is my qualification to attain you? In this way, one should genuinely feel from the core of one's heart. Right? Vibhishana, when he approached Rama, again, whatever our Purvacharyas list, all of this is founded in Shastram. There is nothing that they randomly prescribe or randomly propose. Right? This is the reason why we keep discussing examples from Shastram. Vibhishana, when he approached Ramachandra, he said, Ravano nama durvruttaha rakshaso rakshaseswaraha tasya aham anujo bhrata Vibhishana iti shrutaha. This is how he introduced himself. He said, who Ravano nama durvruttaha. Among people who perform bad activities, there is a person called Ravana. Do you know who that person is? So how did he introduce himself? He started by associating himself with people who perform bad activities. He said, Ravano nama durvruttaha. Then, do you know who this Ravana is? Rakshaso rakshaseshwaraha. There are so many people who don't like to follow Shastra, who are outright rebellious, who perform so many demoniac activities. For all such people, he is the ruler. This is such a bad person. He is one who rules over all such people. You know what? Such a person was present in my mother's womb for a long time. Tasya aham anujo bhrata. Following in his footsteps, I also entered the same womb and stayed in the place where he stayed. So because of his sahavasam, I might also have so many dushkarmas with me. I might also have durvrutti with me. Right? So in this, Vibhishana was not like that. But he was genuinely feeling like that. Vibhishana iti shrutaha. This is who I am. So I really have no qualification, is how he presented himself in front of Ramachandra. Prahlada, when he approached Narasimha, right, one of the prayers that he says is Brahmadaya Suragano Munayotha Siddhaha Satvaikatanagatayo Vachasam Pravahaihi Naradhitum Purugunair Adhunapi Pipruhu Kim Toshtum Arhati Same Hare Rugrajatehe. He says that Brahmadaya Suraganaha, all these, devatas, beginning with Brahma, Rudra, Indra, and all these people, Munayaha, and all the great sages, Ata Siddhaha, so many Siddhas are present. So what happened after, Lord Narasimha killed Hiranyakashipu? His anger could not be pacified by anybody. All the devatas came forward to pacify him, right? Brahma tried to pray to him, he did not get pacified. Rudra tried to pray to him, he did not get pacified. They thought Lakshmi Devi is the person who is the mediator always, so we'll send her forward. She said, I'm not even going to try. I never saw Lord in this form, so don't even try to push me towards him. I'm not going to go. In this way, they all declined. Then they all felt, okay, it is for the sake of this Prahlada that he appeared. Let us try to push this Prahlada forward to see if he is going to pacify. So this is how Devatas were. They were thinking that this 5-year-old child, they want to send in front of this fierce form. But now Prahlada, what was he thinking? He was thinking that all these Brahmadi Devatas, they are Sattvaikatanagatayo. These are all people who are situated in great Sattva Guna. All these Brahmadi Devatas, and great sages who are present here, Siddhas, they are from Siddhaloka. All these are perfected beings. They are all in Sattva Guna, all these Devatas. All such Devatas, Vachasam Pravahaihi, even with great flow of beautiful words, they could not pacify him. And they are Naradhitum Purugunaihi. They are someone filled with all kinds of wonderful qualities. Na aradhitum. Despite that, they could not satisfy him. They could not please him. They could not bring him under control. Adhunapi pipruhu. Kim toshtum arhati same hare rugrajate. Then what is my qualification to satisfy him? I belong to Rakshasa Jati. I belong to Ugra Jati. That is my qualification. Rakshasa, demoniac blood is running through my veins. This is my qualification. These are people in the highest degree of Sattva-guna. Brahma, Rudra, Indra, all these people. And there are great sages, Siddhas. All these people have so many qualities. I have no qualities and I have Rakshasa Jati in me. What is my qualification to please the Lord? In this way, he was thinking. But in fact, the Lord got pleased only with his words. Right? So, in this way, if we look at even acharyas like Yamunacharya, they say Amaryadaha, Shudraha, Chalamatihi, Asuya Prasavabhuhu, Krutagnaha, Durmani, Smaraparavaso, Vanchanaparaha, Nusansaha, Papishtaha. In this way, they completely, Naichyanusandhanam is what they actively do. And this is what we should practice. Now, all these cases like Vibhishana, Prahlada or Yamunacharya, very genuinely from their heart, they are trying to do. Right? Truly, they are feeling that I'm a Nicha. I have no qualities worth even talking about. Then what is my qualification that the Lord will even look at me? What to speak of accepting me? In this way, one should genuinely feel very humbly. Right? This is the second thing. Swanikarsha Anusandhanam. This is the second quality. The third thing is Ishvara Gunapurtihi. One has to understand that the Lord himself is so full in his qualities that it doesn't matter whether I have qualifications or not, but his qualifications are so complete, so perfect that his Vatsalyam is such that, no matter how disqualified somebody is, his compassion is such that no matter how disqualified somebody is, he is definitely going to show them mercy. This is how he is. So, in other words, there are people in this world who have Vatsalyam. There are people in this world who have compassion, right? They have qualities, but they do not have such a quality that no matter what sin you perform, no matter what you do, they are going to forgive you. To an extent, they try to forgive you. To an extent, they try to show compassion. To an extent, they try to show love. But if you cross the limits, they may not show it. But Paramatma is not like that. His qualities are such that there are no limits to his qualities. They are unbounded in nature, right? There is no limit that you can put that he has only this much compassion. He has only this much vatsalyam. He has only this much love towards me. No. So Paramatma has infinite qualities. So therefore, Ishvara Gunapurtihi, his qualities are so perfect and so complete that there is nothing that he is incapable of doing in terms of accepting me, despite who I am. It's not that because I have some qualification, he's going to accept me. I am completely unqualified, but he is fully qualified. Because of his full qualification, even such an unqualified person like me, he is going to accept. This is the third thing one should meditate upon. Then, Sambandha Jnanam, that I have an eternal relationship with the Lord. This also one should consciously feel that Paramatma and I are always related. Paramatma said, Mamaivamso Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatanaha. Right? In Bhagavad Gita, he says this in the 15th chapter. Right? Mamaiva Amshaha Jivaha. Jiva is my Amsha alone. And he said, Sanatanaha. Eternally, this relationship between me and Jiva exists. It's not that this relationship got formed from a certain point. If there is a person who takes birth from a certain mother, then that relationship started from that point on. Prior to that, this Jiva was somewhere else, that mother was somewhere else. From that point on, the relationship started. If there is a husband and wife who got married, from that point on, the relationship started. But for Paramatma's relation, similarly, any of these relationships in this world will have an ending, because death is going to separate every relationship. If not death, they may have enmity, or, at some point, on a good note, relationship will start, but some bad note, the relationship may end. So nothing is permanent here, but the only relationship that is permanent and that has no beginning, right? That relationship is relationship with Paramatma, right? That Sambandha Jnanam one should have. Then, Purva Aparadha Kshamapanam. One should seek forgiveness for all previously committed sins. There are two kinds of things that we do. Upacharams, we think they are upacharams, but they are also apacharams. Apacharams that we think as upacharams and actual apacharams. Intentionally, we commit certain apacharams, but sometimes we think that they are upacharams, but they are also apacharams. For example, if there are, let's say a person has gone to a temple, okay, and on that temple, let's say on the deity, there is some spider web. Now, this person is actually a good devotee. He is thinking, look at my Lord, these temple authorities, they are so negligent of my Lord. So, and Lord gave me because I am such a pious devotee, Lord gave me this wonderful opportunity to clean spider web in such a Divya Desham, right? On his own feet it is there. How fortunate I must be. How great I should be. Let me clean this up. Did he do upacharam or apacharam? We may think he has done upacharam. But what if the spider actually thought it is cold winter season, the Lord is exposed like this, the spider may have been a Bhagavata. We don't know, right? Spider might have thought, who inspired the spider to build the spider web there? Maybe the spider must have thought that it is cold season. Let me actually weave a web around the Lord's feet so that he doesn't feel cold. Let me actually form socks for the Lord. In this way, the spider was trying to do upakaram. We tried to eliminate that upakaram from the Lord, and we again expose the Lord's feet. So this actually became an apakaram to the Lord, not upakaram, right? In this way, intentionally also, we may think it's some kind of upakaram or upacharam that we are doing, but we may commit some apacharam. I'm just saying, this is just a random example. That when we see a spider web doesn't mean we shouldn't remove it, but I'm just saying that we may think it's an upacharam, but the Lord alone knows whether it's upacharam or apacharam. We cannot come to a conclusion about anything at any time, right? So this is one category. Then another category is we have committed so many sins, right? In Sharanagati Gatyam, Bhagavad Ramanuja says very beautifully, right? What does he say? Manovak kayahi anadikala pravritta anantakrityakarana krityakarana bhagavatapachara asahyapachara rupa nanavidha anantapacharan arabdhakaryan anarabdhakaryan kritan kriyamanan karishchamanscha sarvan asheshataha kshamasva. So he actually prays that sarvan asheshataha kshamasva. Please forgive everything completely. What is the everything? Manovak kayehi. We may commit apacharams with our mind. We may commit apacharams with our vak, with our speech. We may commit apacharams with our kaya, with our body. Anadikala pravritta. We are doing this not from this birth. We are doing it since time immemorial. We don't even know when we started this apacharam program. Anadikala pravritta ananta akritya karana. Shastram says don't do. We have done many such things, right? Kritya Akarana. Shastram says you do this, we don't do such things. So both are mistakes. When Shastram says do it, we have to do it, but we don't do them. When Shastram says don't do, we shouldn't do them, but we do them. So Akritya Karana, Kritya Akarana, then Bhagavata Pachara. We have offended the Lord so many times, right? Bhagavata Pachara, there are so many Bhagavatas, we commit offenses towards them. Asahya Apachara Rupa, some kinds of offenses are intolerant offenses, right? The highest degree of offenses that should not be committed. So in this way, so many kinds of offenses we have done in the past, we are continuing to do now, and we'll do in the future also. So this is what our nature is. So we have to seek forgiveness from the Lord, because there is nothing, like we've discussed, right? There is nothing, no amount of our effort that can actually get this done. Then what happened in the case of the sparrow, right? The sparrow, ultimately, this news came to Garuda, right, who is the king of birds. Then this Garuda came and he threatened the ocean that, if you don't protect my sparrow, this is someone who is belonging to my species and it has prayed to me. It has taken shelter of me. Now, if you do not return the eggs, I am going to dry up the ocean. Now, Garuda has the ability to dry up the ocean, because now one gulp of Garuda means it will swallow almost, half the ocean. So Garuda has that ability. So immediately the ocean lord, he feared and he returned the eggs of the sparrow. So in this way, only Lord's grace can actually save us. There is nothing that we can do that can actually eliminate our karmas. So today's Pasuram, this is what this is trying to teach us, right? Karavaigal pinchenu karanjerundunbom. What the gopis are trying to do today, Andal is trying to express that they are born into such circumstances that they are ineligible for claiming that karma yoga is a means for their deliverance. They are ineligible for claiming that Jnana Yogam is a means for their deliverance. They are ineligible for claiming that Bhakti Yogam is a means for deliverance. They are ineligible for claiming that Prapatti is also a means for deliverance. In this way, they completely express their inability. They do not see anything as a means for their deliverance. Yet, they ask the Lord. Why do they ask the Lord? That is what they are going to express today, which we will see. So, karavaigal pinchannu kananjenundunbom. Karavaigal means of cattle, pinchanru, going at the back, kanan, forest, cherendu, reaching the forest, unbom, we just eat for maintaining ourselves. So what are they saying? What is their nature? Their nature is such that all they do for their livelihood is they just go behind the cattle. Where do they go? They go to the forest, right? They reach there. Why do they reach there? Because they just try to maintain themselves. That is what they are saying. And then Arivonnamillada Aikulattu. What they are saying? Onnum Arivu Illada Aikulattu. So they are saying that we belong to this Ayar Kulam, which is such that, this cowherd class is such that we don't have knowledge about anything. We don't know even one thing. That is the nature of us by birth. Untanai peravi perundanai punyam yamudayom. Now they are saying that yamudayom, that we possess punyam. There is a certain qualification we possess though. What is that qualification? We possess the good fortune, untanai, of you, piravi perundanai, being born in our clan. That is the fortune that we have. The only punyam that we have is that you are born in our cowherd class. You are that piety that we are banking upon. Right? Kuraivannamillada Govinda. You are that kind of Lord who is spotless, who is impeccable, who does not have any deficiency. Punyams in this world have deficiencies, but you are that kind of punyam which has no deficiency. What are the deficiencies? We will go through shortly. Okay? Who are you? You are Govinda. What is the purpose of Govinda? Your very reason you came here is to protect all of us. That's what you did. That day you protected all of us. Do you remember? When did he get the name Govinda? Indra actually did Pattabhishekam for Paramatma that day. Right? That is when he crowned him as Govinda. Right? In other words, he is someone who gives pleasure to the cows and the cowherds. They are called Go. Right? Go and Gopala. He who gives that pleasure to Go and Gopala is called Gam Vindate iti Govindaha. He is the one who causes pleasure to them. Therefore, he is called Govinda. So, how did he cause pleasure to them? That day, Indra decided to flood the entire Ayr party, right? And he, Govinda actually protected all of them. and he gave them happiness. Because he protected them, he attained the title Govinda that day. So that is who you are. Your nature is to protect all of us. That is the reason why you have appeared here. Right? And then they are trying to remind, Un tannod uravel namakkingu olikka oliyadu. They are saying, Undannodu uravu. The bond that is uravu means the connection that is between us, the bond that is between us. Undannodu, right, between us. Ingu, here, namak, for all of us, olikka oliyadu. That this is not something that if you want to give up, you can give up that connection, right? You cannot break it just because you want to give it up. You cannot give it up so easily. It's not that kind of connection. Ariyada pillaigalom anbinal. What they are saying is Ariyada Pillaigalom, that we are very, after all, we are just kids. We make lots of mistakes, right? Just because we are calling you by one name and not calling you by other name and all that, we may make a lot of mistakes. Don't look at our mistakes because, Ariyada, we are someone who do not know what is the right thing to do, what is not the right thing to do. We do not know. We are unsophisticated people. We are not very refined people in terms of our knowledge, in terms of our character, in terms of all these things. Right? After all, we are milkmaids. What do you expect of us? Right? Unbinal, we are just filled with a lot of love for you. So because of that, with that love, in that feelings of love, sometimes we may address you this way, sometimes we may address you as that way. You shouldn't get offended whichever way we address you. And you shouldn't say that I'm not going to protect you. Un tannai shirupper adaittanavum siri arulade. Now what they are saying, un tannai, about you, shirupper, small names, trivial names, adaittanavum, called with siri arulade. Don't get angry, right? When we are calling you with one name and not calling you with another name, right? Sometimes they called him as Narayana. Sometimes they call him as Padmanabha, Keshava, Devadideva, Damodara, Govinda. In this way, sometimes they called with one name, sometimes they called with another name. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses Krishna as Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakheti. Sometimes he called, a friend, please come. Sometimes he said, oh, black one, please come here. Out of that intimacy, you may forget the paratvam of the Lord. Because of that, you may call him by whichever name you want. You may call him, hey Yadava, oh cowherd fellow, please come here. Right? In this way, you may see that closeness and you may forget who he is. So Arjuna seeks apology from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, saying, because of that intimacy, I forgot who you are. After seeing his universal form, Arjuna became very apologetic. Immediately he said, I just forgot who you are. You are that Supreme Lord. But all these days, I was just thinking you are my cousin. You are just my friend. And as my colleague, I put my hand on you. Sometimes I slept on you. Sometimes I ate with you. Who are you and who am I? In this way, certainly that realization dawned upon him. So he sought forgiveness. So, Un tannai shirupper adaittanavum siri arulade. So don't get angry because I call you with one name and another name, because I may forget, because that is my nature, right? But who are you? Eraiva, you are the Lord. You are the Swami and we are your property. So, ni tarai parai. You please grant the drum to all of us, the parai, the instrument, you please give it to us. Elor empavai. This is the vratam. Now we'll try to understand the inner meanings of some of these pasarams, in some of these lines, okay, in this pasaram. So, the normal way that is prescribed by Vedanta Shastram for one to attain moksham is that first thing one has to do is, when the time comes, the right time comes in the life, which is, about 5 years or 6 years, that is about the time they get enrolled in a Gurukulam. They have to find a qualified guru, not just any person, any random person. A person should be Tasmat sa gurumeva abhigachet shamitpanihi srotriyam brahmanishtham. Right? Shamitpanihi srotriyam brahmanishtham. The guru should have two qualifications. Shrotriyam means he should have completely studied all the scriptures. He should have that knowledge. And brahmanishtham, he should be fixed in the Paramatma Tattva, who is actually told in all the entire literature of scriptures. So he should have complete knowledge of the scriptures. This is how, when the sages of Naimisharanya, they petitioned to Sukha Maharshi, not Sukha Maharshi, Suta Maharshi, right? They actually said, Akhyatani api adhithani, right? You are someone who has, narrated and you have studied, all the scriptures, right? त्वया खलु पुराणानि सेतिहासानि च अनघा आख्यातानि अपि अधीतानि धर्मशास्त्राणि यान्युगा. So before they asked him to recite Bhagavata Purana, they are trying to express his qualification that all the Puranas, Itihasas, Dharmashastras, you have fully studied all of them. So therefore you are capable of telling the essence for us. They said, don't tell everything for us, because in this Kali Yugam we don't have the ability to assimilate everything. You tell what is the essence of all these scriptures. What is it that we are supposed to know? What is it that a person about to die should know? Who is a person about to die? Is it Parikshit, who has only 7 days to live? No. Everybody is about to die, because nobody knows when death is about to come. Right? Everybody who is born here will die one day. Right? Nobody will remain forever. Right? So for a person who is going to die, what is the essence that they should get from scripture? This is something that the guru should know. Right? And that guru should himself be fixed in that tattva. These are the qualifications of such a guru. So such a guru one has to find. One must learn the meanings of the scripture from such a guru. Then based on that, one must perform their varnashrama karmas, whatever karmas are there. By this, what happens? Whether one likes it or not, because one performs their duty properly, their papams will go away. Okay? Because their papams go away, the mind will become pure. Because the mind becomes pure, then they can start contemplating on who they are. Right? They can more deeply contemplate on who they are. What is their purpose in life? Why are they existing like this? Clearly, their own nature will become very clear to them. This is called Atma Sakshatkara. Once their nature becomes clear to them, then they start examining, if I am the Jiva and I belong to Paramatma and I am supposed to attain that Paramatma, then I have to meditate on that Paramatma. Then their mind will actually shift to meditation on Paramatma. Then that meditation should go on in such a way such that one should constantly see the Lord in a way, darshana samanakaraha. Darshana samanakaraha means as if one is seeing the Lord in front of one's eyes. That is how the meditation should be. Okay? So it should be tailadharavat, avichinna smriti santana rupam. This is how it should be. Tailadharavat, avichinna smriti santana rupam. Tailadharavat means when there is, oil that is trying to light up a lamp, right? It is actually instantaneous, right? We don't even notice the gaps between one oil drop and the next oil drop trying to fuel that lamp, right? But it appears as if it is very continuous. That is how continuously one has to meditate on the Lord. So in such way, if one practices, at the end of the life, one will be able to get a vision of the Lord and one will be able to attain Paramatma. This is the process prescribed in the Shastra. So for that, where does it begin? It begins with one trying to approach a qualified guru. One should try to follow such a guru. They have to render all kinds of services to such a guru. What are these gopis trying to do? Here they are trying to express their own qualification. What are they saying? They are trying to follow ignorant animals. That is what they are trying to tell in the first line. Karavaigal pinchannu karanjerundun bom. All we are trying to do is we are trying to karavaigal pinchannu. We are trying to go behind ignorant animals. Animals are not described as very qualified creatures, right? What is our qualification? We only follow ignorant creatures. Because when human being behaves in a very bad way, we say, why are you behaving like an animal? Right? That's what we say. That means animals are not considered as very refined beings. Right? Animalistic behavior means what? It means behavior that is not cultured in nature. If someone is following animals, that means that is not very cultured. If we see the Bhagavata Purana, it describes how these gopas and gopis, they were so absorbed in mimicking the behaviors of the animals. Sometimes they would just, they would, moo like cows, and they would, jump like, they would bray like donkeys, and they would behave like monkeys, and that's what they would all do, right? This is what they would do on a day-to-day basis. So in this way, they are trying to mimic the behaviors of animals, but also they are trying to follow animals. Wherever animals are going, they are going behind them. So in other words, gurus are the people who should lead us in our life, but these animals are leading them. So therefore, they are thinking that, they are following those animals. So it is not that the gurus they have approached are unqualified animals. That is what they are trying to convey. Even if they follow animals, if they go to a holy place, then there is some merit associated with it, right? Why? What is karma yoga? In Gita Ardha Sangraham, Yamunacharya describes karma yoga, tapastirtha, dana yajnati sevanam. In this way, Yamunacharya gives a definition for Karma Yoga. What is it? Karma Yogaha tapas tirthaha dana yajnadi sevanam. So, going to tirthas, holy places, is one of the aspects of Karma Yoga. So, if the Aranya that they went to happens to be Dandakaranya or Naimisharanya, some holy Aranya like that, then one might say that they have attained some punyam. If they have gone to, places like Ayodhya, Mathura, and so on, then one might think that, they are attaining some punyam, right? But what kind of place are they going to? These are, after all, some wherever there is more glass, they don't even see this place has more punyam, this place has less punyam, let me go there. Wherever there is more grass for grazing the cows, that's where they go. So that is how they are going. So that is not a qualification. Are they even tending to the cows without any desire? Now Krishna may say, all right, that is your anushtanam. What to do? You are cowherds. So cowherds' nature is to somehow feed the cows. So that's what you are doing. That is Swadharma Anushtanam. But one of the principles of Bhagavad Gita is one has to do Nishkama Karma. That means one has to practice karmas without desiring fruits. Are these cowherds doing that? No. Why are they even trying to do this? Because their whole thought process is, if I can feed these cows in plenty, they will yield plentiful milk. With that milk, I will go and sell in Mathura. Then I will get plenty of money. So then I can enjoy nicely. So this is not even Nishkama Karma, right? Now, just because someone goes to the forest doesn't mean it's very bad. So Krishna may say, all right, but still just so many rishis and so on, they do tapas in the forest. So just because you go to the forest doesn't disqualify you. Who knows, you might be going to the forest to perform tapasya. Then they are trying to say, no, what tapasya are we doing? We are just going there to unbom. We are just going there to eat. That's all we are trying to do. Krishna says, all right, even eating, if you do according to Shastram, right? Yukta ahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapna avabodhasya yogo bhavate dukkhaha. Krishna is saying that if you eat properly according to Shastram, that is also a karma anushtanam. Then they are saying, what properly you think we are eating? Sometimes we eat standing, right? One should not eat while standing. One should sit and eat. Then there is a certain direction, like, east or north. In certain directions, one should sit and eat, facing those directions, right? So in this way, we are not even seeing which direction we are facing, because they're just open land. Their cows are grazing. Sometimes they keep following those cows and they keep eating. While standing, they keep eating. Sometimes we find in Bhagavata Purana that each of them is having their boxes. They keep eating. They try to put that yachil hand into another person's box, and they keep eating with that yachil hand. So in this way, they are not even, following proper rules and associated with eating. So this is what they are trying to say. So they don't even see whether it's qualified food, unqualified food. That means Shastram says if a food passed 3 hours from preparation, food that is past expiry date, those kinds of foods one should not take. Those are all tamasic foods. So these gopas and so on, they don't care about all these things, all these rules and so on. They're just happy eating whatever they want to eat, whenever they want to eat, all these things. So this is how they are eating. So then they are basically expressing to Krishna that qualification also we don't have. That means, in other words, really we are not following any rules whatsoever. Then Krishna says, all right, just because you don't follow any rules doesn't mean it disqualifies you. You may not have karma anushtana, but who knows, you might be very great jnanis in your previous life. For jnanis, there is no dosham if they don't perform karmas properly, because tejo visheshena pratyavayo navidyate. Because of the tejas that they carry, for them these sins don't touch. Even if they make occasional mistakes, those mistakes will not be counted for jnanis, right? So you may be great jnanis, who knows? Even in this life, if you are just doing like this, because of, in your previous life, you may have performed very pious activities, because of janmantara karmas that you have got. You may be born as jnanis. For instance, Jadabharata, he was also in the forest, right, for a substantial portion. What was he eating? In the forest, what will you get? Whatever you get, that's what you should eat. That's all. So whether it's eatable or not eatable, all those things he is not seeing. Whenever he gets it, he'll eat. Sometimes for days and days, he may not get anything. One day he might get plenty, so he may get more meals that day. One day he might get something very rotten. That's all he has to eat. One day he might have to snatch it from a bird and eat. In this way, there is no guarantee or certainty of eating properly. So that's okay. All right. You may be a great jnani like Bharata, Jadabharata, who knows. Even Shabari, she's called Dharma Nipunam, right? She was born in a very low caste, right, Shabari? But just because she was born in a very low caste doesn't disqualify her. She was very excellent in her dharma, right? She knew exactly how to follow dharma. Therefore, Shramanim Dharmanipunam Abhigaccheti Raghavaha, says Ramayanam. That Rama himself went to Shabari. Abhigaccheti. That he himself went to, not Gaccheti. Abhigaccheti means, Rama's going is significant to Shabari because Shramanim Dharmanipunam. She was someone who was fixed in dharma. She knew all the intricacies of dharma, right? So therefore, such a lady was Shabari. So you may be such a lady. Just because you're born in a low caste, it doesn't mean that it disqualifies you. In this way, Krishna must be saying. Similarly, there is Dharma Vyatha, right? In Mahabharata, we find he was, after all, a meat seller. But all the great jnanis used to go to him to get discourses on dharma. Right? In this way, someone may be born in a certain circumstance, but that doesn't disqualify them. Who knows? They might be very great jnanis from their previous life. So these things may not affect them. To this, they are trying to answer. No, Krishna, a true qualification. Krishna is saying, he's just trying to test. First of all, they said, we don't have karma yoga, eligibility for karma yoga. Then Krishna is trying to say, all right, you may have jnana, so karmas don't apply to you. Then they are saying, we are not even eligible for jnana yoga or bhakti yoga. So, arivannam illada aikulattu. This is arivu illadu. Arivu illai means there is no jnanam, right? Ondrum arivu illai means, that means even one kind of jnanam they don't have. Jnanam of how to perform karmas should be there. Jnanam of karmas should be there. That they don't have. That means what karmas to perform, that they don't have. Even if they know what karmas to perform, how to perform them, that also they don't have. Right? That knowledge they don't have. How to attain Atma Sakshatkaram, that jnanam also they don't have. What is Atma Sakshatkaram, that jnanam also they don't have. Atma Yathatma Jnanam, that also they don't have. So in this way they are saying, Ondrum Aruva Illai, that even one kind of jnana we do not have. So don't think that because we don't have any of these jnanas, where is the question of bhakti based on jnana? That, that kind of bhakti also we don't have. Based on proper relationship of jiva with Paramatma and all those things, do you think we all have that? We don't. So we are born in a family where there is no such opportunity because ahara shuddhau sattva suddhihi. This is what Chandogya Upanishad says. If you eat the right kind of food, then you will get a good mind. But we are not even eating right food. Whatever junk we are eating. Whenever we want, we are eating. This is how we are eating. So what is the question of, our birth being, that means our jnanam being very refined. So naturally our mind is not refined, therefore our jnanam will not be refined, right? And then it is said generally that, very, Krishna says that, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrashto Abhijayate, that people who have fallen from the path of yoga, that means they have practiced very sincerely in their previous life, but they were not able to attain Paramatma because they made some mistakes. So such people, they will take birth among Shuchis and Srimatas. That means people who are, very great Bhagavatas, people who are very great Kainkarya Paras. In such families, they take birth, right? So it's not that we have just taken birth in ordinary cowherd families. So we do not have such any qualifications with respect to birth or qualifications with respect to karmas or qualifications with respect to jnana or bhakti. None of these qualifications we have. Then Krishna is saying, if you don't have any qualification, how? At least do you have some piety? You should have some punyam, no? If you don't even have that, how? Then they are saying, yes, that we have. We have one punyam. What is it? Undanai, Piravi Perundanai, Punyam Yamudayom. Now they are saying, we possess the piety which is you. You are that piety for us. Why are you the piety? What is the nature of Krishna? He is that kind of piety. Vishnu Sahasranamam says, Pavitranam Pavitram Yo Mangalanancha Mangalam. That for all the things that we think are Pavitram, the Pavitrata came to them because of him. Ganga, we know that it is Pavitram. Why did Ganga become Pavitram? Because it washed the lotus feet of Paramatma. In this way, whatever things we think are pious in this world or cause purity to us in this world, all those things became pure because of association with him, right? That association is what made them pure. So therefore, he is Punyam. He is Punyam personified. That is who he is. Then What kind of punyam is he? Kurai vannum illada Govinda. He is someone, he is that kind of punyam that has no deficiencies whatsoever. In this world, punyams have certain kinds of deficiencies. The first deficiency is they are sapeksham. Sapeksham means punyam is always resting upon a certain activity that you perform or a person, etc. In other words, you get that punyam based on an activity, right? You perform this activity, then based on the merit associated with that activity, you get that much punyam, right? You perform, you give charity, $101 to someone. And based on that, you will get certain punyam, right? So it is sapeksham. It is resting upon that karma. And it is attached to a certain person. So in this way, punyam is always sapeksham. But Paramatma is nirapeksha. In other words, he does not rest upon anything. He is that kind of siddha punyam. These are all sadhya punyams. He is siddha punyam. In other words, he doesn't rest upon a karma. He is always existing in our heart as that punyam, purity personified, right? So he is not resting upon any karma. He is not resting upon any person. He is always there. That punyam is always there in our account, Paramatma. We never leverage that account, right? One account always exists. We don't even look at that account. That is the problem. Then savadhi. Savadhi means punyams have certain limits in terms of what they can bestow. Certain punyams are capable of bestowing only certain kinds of benefits, right? Every punyam doesn't have ability to bestow every kind of benefit. With certain punyams, you can get ihaloka sukhas, happiness in this world. With certain punyams, we can get svargaloka. With certain punyams, we can get, other kinds of benefits. But to get Paramatma, no amount of punyam of material nature is sufficient. So they are sa avadhi. Avadhi means there is a limit. But Paramatma is niravadhi. That means there is no limit. Paramatma is unlimitedly capable of giving anything. So there is no limit for this kind of punyam called Paramatma. And the nature of punyams in this world is that if there is a papam that is more powerful than the punyam, it can prevent the result of punyam from coming in our life. Until that papa karma is completely met, the punyam's result will not come. Sometimes people will keep thinking that, I performed this recitation, I performed this vratam, I performed all these things, but still the result is not coming. They may perform it very perfectly, but the result won't come. Why the result is not coming? Because there is certain papam that is preventing from the result from coming. So that papam has to be eliminated for the result of this punyam to manifest. So that is why it won't come. So in this way, we do not know how many papams are existing which are blocking our punyams. So we cannot rely upon such unstable punyams for getting the ultimate goal called moksham. So, but there is one punyam that nobody can block. He is such a great mountain that no amount of papam can actually, stand against him, to block him. So that is who Paramatma is. When sun comes, can the sun be blocked by any amount of darkness? It is not possible, right? So that is the nature of Paramatma. He is like a sun. He is very pure. So no amount of papam can block him. So therefore he is kurai vannam illada. That means there is no spots, no deficiencies associated with that kind of punyam, right? So therefore he doesn't have any of these deficiencies. Moreover, Narayana, who is in Vaikuntham, has a certain deficiency. But you are Govinda, who has appeared here. You don't have a deficiency. What is the deficiency that Narayana has and this Govinda doesn't have? Narayana has one deficiency, that he is inaccessible. He is somewhere there. But as Govinda, you have come all the way here. You have made yourself accessible to us. So therefore, that deficiency also is not there in you. Then Paramatma may say, see, you are all very great jnanis. On the one hand, you are saying, I don't have anything, I don't have anything. But very nicely, logically, you are putting forth all the arguments. So with nice logic, you have all these things. So therefore, you are all jnanis. Then they are saying, this jnanam is also not our means for attaining you, Paramatma. In other words, this is a very last trap for all of us. We may think that I really don't see my karmas as capable of giving Paramatma. I really don't see my jnanam as capable of giving Paramatma, nor my bhakti. But because I perform prapatti, I have this very nice knowledge that Paramatma is the means. Because I have this means, therefore I can get moksha. That means again we are thinking, because I have this knowledge, therefore I'll get moksha. So that means even that kind of thought process shouldn't be there in us, because that's what the gopis are expressing. Don't say, that's what he is trying to test. You are very knowledgeable, so therefore, then they are saying no, because you are fully independent and we are filled with sins. This is the reason why we have to do Naichyanusandhanam. That my sins, if I just look at my sins, there's such a huge mountain that there's no way I can even think that I'll get moksha. So that kinds of confidence, even little bit, I don't have on my own ability if I look at my sins. Moreover, just because I come with many qualifications or I come with no qualifications doesn't make you dependent on these to give moksha, because you are completely independent. This we have to understand. Paramatma is independent. Ultimately, there is nothing that can control him. He still has freedom to make his choices. Nobody can control him. So this also one should acknowledge, that you are fully independent. So just because we say this way or that way doesn't mean you have to oblige and you have to do anything to us. So therefore, we are not counting on anything that is actually ours. We are counting only on you. Who are you? You are Govinda. Why are you called Govinda? You got that title because you protected us that day and the cows. Therefore, you have that title. Therefore, we are calling you with that title to remind you that you protect us now too, right? You are the same person who told Arjuna, Sarvadharman Parityaja, give up all duties, Mamekam Sharanam Raja. We are just following whatever you said, right? Then Paramatma said, yes, all right. Okay, I agree with everything, but you said I am independent, right? So what if I decline? Then what will you do? Now they are saying, Undannod El Namakkinga Odiyada, Namakku Odikka Odiyada. Now what they are saying is Paramatma, that the relationship that is present, right? Undannod Uravel Namakking Odikka Odiyada. That the relationship between you and me is such that just because you feel like you want to give up, you cannot break this relationship. Because you remember what you said that day, when you lifted the Govardhana mountain, we all were trying to run away from you. That day, what did you say? You said that I am no Devata, I am no Yaksha, I am no Rakshasa, I am none of these things. I am just your Bandhu. I am your relationship. That's what you said that day. It's because you are related to us, we have come to you. What kind of relationship is this relationship? It is not some temporary relationship based on a temporary cause. Just because you choose to accept or not choose to accept, you cannot break this relationship. No matter how independent someone is, will they give up their own children? Right? We are your children, right? Therefore, we have Pita Putra Sambandham. Because you said Pitaham Asya Jagataha. Paramatma said, I am the Lord of everybody, right? So, that is a relationship you have with all of us. How can you give up this relationship? And moreover, Veda is eternal, right? Veda came from Omkara. Omkara is also eternal. This eternal Omkara has to rest upon two things and the connection between them. Akara, who is Paramatma, Makara, who is Jiva, and the relationship between the two, right? Now, if you say that relationship doesn't exist, then Omkara itself becomes meaningless. Then Veda itself becomes meaningless. So that cannot be true. Moreover, you got the title Akara because Akara means Avarakshane, right? Because you are the protector of the Jivas, you are indicated by the letter A. Because you are the basis for our existence, you are indicated by the letter A. If you choose not to, support us, if you choose, that means the relationship between you and us is you are the supporter and we are the supported. You are the protector and we are the protected. We have these relationships. If you choose to, decline this, then where is even scope for our protection? Then you are the master. We are the cowherds. We are just going to follow you, whatever you say. You are the master. We are the servants. So there is a master-servant relationship between all of us. In this way, we all depend as if you are our life. If we cannot think of you for a moment, if we cannot see you for a moment, it is as if life is taken away from us. That means you are the soul and we are the body. That is the body-soul relationship between the two of us. Right? Once the soul departs, the body doesn't exist. Right? It immediately falls apart. So the gopis also were like that. Right? Once Krishna, even for a moment, if Krishna wasn't visible or Krishna's thoughts were not there, they would go mad as if life was taken away from them. So that is how they were. So body-soul relationship also exists. Then he pervades every aspect of their life. Previously we learned how whatever activity the gopis were doing, right? They were milking curd and all of these things. Whatever they were trying to do, they were just trying to think about Govinda. Constantly they were thinking about his names. So he pervaded every aspect of their lives. That means he is the pervader and they are the pervaded. Right? In this way, all kinds of relationships exist between you and us. Now, how can you say that you can actually give up on us? Right? Now, Krishna is saying, very nice. I am convinced with all of this, but I'm still mad at one thing. Why did you call me Narayana? You kept calling me with all kinds of distant names. Previously, they said Devati Devanai, Padmanabhan, right? Damodaran, Narayanan. In this way, you called all these names, right? These are all very distant names. I came so close to you. Why can't you call me with a name which is very close to you? Why can't you just call me Govinda? Then they are admitting, Ariyada Pillaigalom Anbinal. We are overwhelmed with love of you. In that love, sometimes we may recognize that you are the Supreme, sometimes we may not recognize you are the Supreme. When we see you as the Supreme, those names come to our mind. When we, see you as someone belonging to us, these names like Govinda come to us. We do not know all these rules and so on. We don't know how to behave. We are unsophisticated people. So if someone loves someone like that, will they actually look at all these mistakes, Krishna? In this way they are saying. Then உன் தன்னை சிறுபேர் அரைத்தனமும் சீறி அருளாதே. உன் தன்னை சிறுபேர் அழைத்தனமும் சீறி அருளாதே. Now what they are saying is, what is this சிறுபேர்? சிறுபேர் means that name which indicates his paratvam. That means that name is a trivial name. That name which indicates his saulabhyam as Govinda, that is perupér. This is Sirupér, right? So previously they have addressed him with that names. Now they are addressing him with the names of saulabhyam, right? That is why they are saying, don't get angry because sometimes we may call you with this name or that name. Just don't, get mad, whichever way we call. That day Arjuna, he got absorbed in the saulabhyam to such an extent that he forgot the paratvam of Narayana and he sought apologies. Now these Andal and Gopikas, they are getting absorbed in his paratvam to such an extent that they are forgetting his saulabhyam and they are seeking apologies. So sometimes one may see this or that, but these shouldn't, cause hindrance to attaining him, is what they are trying to say. So therefore they are asking forgiveness from Paramatma, that we may make a lot of mistakes. Please don't look at those mistakes too deeply. Please forgive us, Narayana, is what they are requesting. Now Krishna is saying one final thing. From the world's point of view, you need some qualification. How can I give you, people will question me. Otherwise, where they have no qualification, how did you give them moksham? Then what should I answer? In this way, Krishna is saying. Finally, again, he's testing what their reply is going to look like. Now they are saying, Iraiva, you are the Lord. We are the property, right? You are the master and we are your property. If the property is lost, it's the master's responsibility to come and look for the property. It's not the property's response to chase the master, right? If a person loses the wallet, that person has to search for the wallet. The wallet won't come running behind him so that he can search for it, right? So that is our final answer to you. You are the Lord. You are independent. Who is there to question you, first of all? Even if you think someone can question you, you are independent to answer anybody. Who is stopping you from it? You can to uphold your supremacy, you please accept us. This is what they are saying. Finally, they are saying, Ni tarai parai. Now, he may be still looking at, Nappinai Pirati or someone saying, see, these are gopikas. They're all women. You are a woman. You understand their desire better. So why don't you sanction something? So they are saying, Ni tarai parai. You give us. She already gave us you. Now, finally, you have to grant us the Purushartha, which is experiencing you. So therefore, in other words, what are the gopis trying to establish in this Pasuram? Not to see anything that belongs to one as a means to attain Paramatma. He alone is the means to attain him. This is the lesson that they are trying to establish in today's Pasuram. I have already delayed it so much. I would like to conclude here today. Andal Empiramanar Jiyar Tiruvadagale Sharanam. Hey Sriman Narayan. We'll see if anybody wants to share any one or two last points.
Jai Shrimanarayana Swami, I have one question.
Yes, Srinidhi. Jai Srimanarayana.
Arjuna calls Krishna many names, right? Which describes Krishna the best?
Which describes Krishna the best?
Yes.
This is a very tricky question. All names are his names. If you ask me which describes Krishna the best, the name I would say, based on my understanding of Bhagavad Gita, is the name Achyuta. Because that is the name that Arjuna calls Krishna in the first chapter. Ratham sthapayame Achyuta, he says. You know the meaning of the word Achyuta? The meaning of the word Achyuta means someone who doesn't let the other person fall at any time. Okay? If that person holds you once, they will hold you forever. They will never let you slip away from them. So, Arjuna, Krishna felt that responsibility that Arjuna addressed me as Achyuta. Therefore, it is now my responsibility that I cannot let him fail at any time. In other words, someone who doesn't let the other person who takes shelter of them fail at any time is called Achyuta.
Oh,
Is that
okay, Swami.
so? In my opinion, therefore, Achyuta is that name that is best in addressing Narayana, right? From Arjuna's point of view, because he did not let him fail, right? He protected him in the battle of Mahabharata. There were how many Akshauhinis? 11 Akshauhinis on the other side, only 7 on this side, right? It's a huge amount of army, but Krishna protected Arjuna. Finally, the Pandavas emerged victorious.
Thank you, Swami. Wonderful class, Swami.
Thank you, thank you. Jai Sriman Narayana. Thank you for your question.
Jai Shri
Jai Sriman Narayana.
Jai Shriman Narayana Raghavan Mama, I have a question.
How are you, Anantan?
Good.
Are you doing good? Very nice. I'm very happy to hear that. Yes, what is your question?
What does Naityanusandhanam mean?
Naityanusandhanam means to think about oneself as very low. One shouldn't think I am very great.
So is it good or bad?
That's a good question. Is it good or bad? So sometimes when we think I am very unqualified, I don't have anything, then we may feel it is a lack of self-confidence, right? That is how we see in this world, right? When we think of ourselves as low. That is not how we should feel in this world. But when we think about God and our relationship with God, we should understand that how are you able to do anything, Anantan? How are you able to eat? You're able to eat with hands, right? You're able to eat with your mouth. You're able to eat because your food is getting digested.
Yeah.
Are all these happening by their own?
No.
No. It is Paramatma who is supporting all of those actions from within you, right?
Yeah.
So he is the one who is making you eat.
Yeah.
Similarly, he is the one. How are you able to remember all the things you are reading? Because of.
Yeah, very much.
So that means, do you think on our strength we are able to remember anything? No.
No.
Do you think on our strength we are able to do anything?
No.
Do you think on our strength we can accomplish anything? If you stand first in your class, do you think it will be your accomplishment?
No.
No. So, by our own strength, we are incapable of doing anything. So, it is Naityanusandhana means acknowledging that in front of Paramatma that I am so unqualified, but because of you, you are making me qualified in different ways. Right?
Yeah.
So, thinking that on my strength, I don't have any ability to do anything. Because I have only, low quality. Sometimes I intentionally do papams. Amma says, don't do this, I go and do that. Appa says, don't do this, I go and do that. So my nature is somehow always doing whatever I want to do, right? This is how we may be doing. But despite that, Paramatma is somehow trying to be merciful to us. He's still blessing us with everything. So this is what we have to tell Paramatma. See, I don't always obey you, right? I don't always obey Amma and Appa. But despite that, you are always merciful to me and you're always giving me with everything I need. So this is what we have to tell Paramatma. That is called Naityanusandhanam. Is that clear, Anantan?
Yeah. Thank you, Mama. Jai Shriman Narayana.
Jai Srimanarayana Kanna. Get well soon. Stay healthy.
Jai Shriman Narayana Swami, I have only only one thing for me.
What do you
I heard from I was just repeating or telling something what I heard from another Upanyasam,
Yes.
that karavaigal senRu, so the Upanyasakar was saying that the karavaigal is so blessed because they followed Krishna and they did not question. Wherever he took him, it also followed along with him, followed him, right? Even without asking a single question. So why am I following you? Why, what will I get out of it? Or they did not even doubt, question, or anything. So when we follow Perumal, we should also be like the Karavaigal, where we don't question his intentions.
Mm, 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 mm.
Um,
Thank you for sharing this realization. Yes, thank you.
Jai Shri Narayana Swami, is it okay if I share just 3 lines?
Yes.
I mean, one for each. Okay. As to add to Nappinai, about the Karavigal, two ways of looking at it. One is the Karavaigal did not question Krishna, why should we follow you? That's one thing. And then again in Nachiyar Tirumozhi, in Pattimeindor Kareru, Andal explains like how Krishna played with cows and just born calf. And like normally like cowherds, they just let the cow loose. They let the cow loose, right? And then they just go graze and then they come back automatically. But in Krishna's life, like he plays flute and they come. But sometimes if all the small calf, like they are all so active and so like jittery, so they just run away, right? So some of those calves, until they get used to returning when Krishna plays flute, Krishna and Balarama, they used to run behind all those calves to bring it back. So one thing is, as Nappine said, Karavaigal did not ask Krishna, why should we follow you? Second thing, Karavaigal did not ask, why are you following me? That is the other thing. Because at sometimes like we feel that some external force is controlling us, right? Like, see, we may think that something bad is happening, but actually Perumal is trying to not make worse thing happen to us, so he stops with bad. So sometimes again I have personally felt that Krishna is around me when I am down, or when I am in doing not so good in life, both work and personal. So Krishna is around me, right? So at that time we should not question Krishna, why did you do this to me? Thank you, Krishna, at least like you saved me at this point. So that is the second part, that Karavaigal did not question Krishna. Why are you following me? So we should not question Krishna. Why are you following me and why are you giving me this trouble? I'm happy only because you are with me. The trouble stopped here. Otherwise, we'll be in a worse situation. So that's about Karavaigal. And then the second one is about Naichanusandanam. Please don't think that I'm marketing or anything. We have Tondaradi Pudiyarvar, our Pasuram Samarpanam in SV Temple this Saturday. And Tondaradi Pudiyarvar has like used this Naichanusandanam technique in his Pasurams to advise us. So if Ananthan can bless the occasion and can come to the temple this Saturday at 10:30 a.m., we can discuss Naichanusandanam in detail.
It's not it's our blessing. Actually, I was going to say that, but it is a long thing, right? I mean, I was incidentally, I was listening to Velukudi Swami's Upanyasam, where Velukudi Swami was explaining Tondaradi Pudiyarvar's Naichanusandanam. I'll just say one line here.
Sure. Yeah.
There's Swami said so many things. I don't remember most of them, but one thing that stood out was Tondaradi Pudiyarvar firmly said Perumal that you are asking, I will not even brush my teeth, I will not take bath, I will not do anything that I'm supposed to do, but if I do one of them and you're going to grant me moksham, one day people will come back and say that, okay, this person took bath, so you granted him moksham. So I'm not even I want you to grant me the parai or moksham entirely out of your our relationship with you, and not because of anything that we perform. So that line stood out for me when Alakudi Swami was doing the.
Sure.
Of
And it
there, it is
there's
to be
very
there.
nice. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's very detailed. I have heard that too, Napinai. I have heard that point too. But that's why I stopped with Tondaredi Puriyalvar and Aichana Sandanam, because he has handled Aichana Sandanam like really well in all his pasurams for to make us understand.
Very nice, Hariniji. We would love to be part of that, but I think there is a conflict that day. We also have the Jet Tirukkalyanam that day. I don't know if it
No,
started.
that's on 19th.
Swami, that's on Sunday, Swami.
That's on
Saturday is
Sunday. Oh,
Tondaradi
perfect.
Puriyalvar.
Okay. So then there
Yeah.
is no conflict. Okay. Thank you for
Okay.
clarifying.
I have only one thing to add. Sorry, I know it is getting late, but this is I cannot. It's in
Please
my
share
heart. I have
nothing.
to let it out.
Yes, please.
Swami, Velukudi Swami was also saying that when we do Kainkaryam, you're standing there, and for someone they give like make malai. For
Mm,
someone they say wash these vessels. For someone they say okay, there is a dirt cloth there, wash it. So we should never ever think that that is also like the night chant santanam, or it is part of everything, or it is something that Perumal, like I'm adding to what Harini ji said, that he follows us, Perumal follows us and tests us constantly, saying that one day he will give us to serve to make malai, but very next day or very next moment he might put us in a situation where we have to wash the floor. So
yes.
nothing is low in front of Perumal. It is Kainkaryam. So he keeps testing us, and we have to show uh, um, our the Kainkaryam in whatever manner it comes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a very great point, Appineji. Actually, this is something we have to constantly meditate, right? Sometimes we keep comparing to, right? That Bhagavata got this service and I only got this service. I'm only cleaning the temple. They are actually serving Perumal inside the, Garbhagudi. In this way, so many comparisons, so many these things might occur in the mind. Then constantly we have to recognize that, see, I'm so unqualified that I don't even deserve this. Like, despite that, Perumal gave me this. So this is what we have to constantly practice, because that I was thinking so many times, I was reflecting on this, that pride may come in us, that thinking that today we may feel, why am I being given this? Tomorrow if we get that, we may think, oh, why am I not tired? In this way, there is no limit to how much the jiva thinks they deserve, that they want.
Agreed, Swami. Yeah, we can be in the front desk or in the crowd control, or we may give Tirtham, but it's like everything is in the same level when it comes to
Yeah,
Kankari.
right. Absolutely. Thanks, Krishna.
Yeah, just one line to add to that is that's the Pasuram in Thiruvaimozhi. Nammalvar has written 10 Pasurams. Parivadi Leesanai Padi. Parivadi Leesanai Padi. So in that Pasuram, Nammalvar says about whatever Kainkaryam you do, please do not like differentiate between what's best and what's worst.
Mm,
Any Kainkaryam is best Kainkaryam only. So don't differentiate. And even if you are at a position or in a situation where you cannot do any Kainkaryam, at least imagine in your mind that you are a part of that Kainkaryam, so that like automatically things will fall on place and you will be involved. Like Andal says, no, IMM Pichayim, Andanayim Kaikati. So if you cannot do IMR Pichai, at least refer to someone who can help, who can give IM and Pichai. So I'm going to stop here. Sorry. So that's like to add to Nappinai. So this Parivadi Lisani is all about Kainkaryam, and do not differentiate and do not question Krishna. Why did you make me do this? Be happy that he chose you to make this. That's and right when you talked about the name Achyutan came from his basketball. He had all smile in his face. It was just
very nice.
Yeah, he was all smile in his face. Thank you, Swami.
So,
Thank
Achyutan,
you.
you should never let your mother fail. Okay, that is the meaning of your name. He
Once,
never fails anybody.
okay, once. So he's just saying that you should not let your mother fail.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Did you hear that, Swami? He said, okay, sorry, he's eating. He just came from, basketball, and he's eating right now. But in Sahasranamam, two places, the name Tirunamam Achyutan comes in two places. One is he will never let you down. And then the other one is he will never come down from his status.
His own status.
Then,
Yeah. He will never fall from his status.
So his status and his position will never change irrespective of whatever happens externally.
Right.
Yeah.
There is no Chuti for him.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing everything.
Thank you, Swami. Adi. Jai Srimanarayana. Adi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Adi.
Ramya gar. Okay. Jai Shri